Want to learn how to sew the shift dress that I am wearing? Come let me show you how to do it easy. Hi, welcome to the Creative Nest. I'm Catherine. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new here, welcome. I hope you like what you see and you subscribe for more. Welcome to this family. I know this dress looks completely different from the one that you would have seen in my drafting video, and that's because it is. I did that video for you, and when I went to edit the video, I realized that the lighting was really bad. And I didn't want to put out that video just for putting up a video. I want to give you quality because that is what you are here for. So I created a whole new dress to share that process with you. If you like what you see, keep on watching. So grab your fabric, your tools, and your energy, and let's get sewing. This is the front, and it has the facing. It also has pockets. This is the back of the dress. And it also has the facing and the pockets. So I'm now going to put my dress together. I'm going to do the front facing and all of the pockets. I'm going to leave the back facing. Now that I have all of my pockets stitched, I'm going to snip into this because it's a curve. Not cut through your thread. Come close to it, but don't cut through it, because then you will have to cut out your front facing and the front of your dress again, and you don't want to ruin what you just created. And what this does, it allows the fabric to relax, especially how it's a curve. I'm going to go back to my machine and I'm going to understitch, and I'm going to stitch on the facing, not the fabric. I'm going to stitch on the facing very close to the edge. I'm going to do that for my facing for the front, and I'm edge stitch. I'm going to edge stitch. I don't know what I said earlier. I'm going to edge stitch. So I'm going to do the same for my pocket. Make sure your stitch is facing your pocket and not your fabric, and stitch very close to the edge. That's why it's called edge stitching. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to come back and show you the next step. Okay, so I have just edge stitched front neck facing, and I have edge stitched all of my pocket pieces down. That is what you should have. Going to install my zipper. The zipper that I'm going to use is going to be an invisible zipper. Just open and close your zipper to make sure that it's working. You're going to pin your two back pieces together, and you want to make a mark where you want your zipper to end. So I made a mark at 19 inches because that is where I want my zipper to end. For you, it may be different. From the top of my dress to where I made that 19-inch mark, I'm going to base stitch. And for you to base stitch, just use the largest stitch on your machine. And from where the pin is to the end, I'm going to use a 1-inch seam allowance that I left for my piece. So from where this pin is, where the 19 inches begins, to the end, I'm going to stitch 1-inch seam allowance. Okay, so we just came up on our 19 inches, so I'm going to now switch to a basting stitch. Make sure you lock back stitch at the beginning and the end to lock that in place. And now we're going to use the larger stitch on our machine. So I'm going to do that now. So now that we have our stitch in place, I'm going to iron. Yes, it's a dirty job, but you have to iron if you want your piece to look professional. So let me do that quickly. Remember that basting stitch that we just put in? I'm going to now take it out. All right, so the next thing that you're going to do is, this is the right side of the zipper, and you're going to place that on your fabric. I'm going to line up what I want you to do. You see that line? I want you to make sure that your teeth are flush against that line. Then we are going to stitch on the edge. So let's pin that down now. Remember, we are stitching on this edge. We're not stitching close to the teeth as yet. So make sure it's close to the line. Okay, so now that we have our zipper pinned, I'm going to stitch close to the edge of the zipper on this side. So let's do that now. I'm going to do the same for the other side. Now that we have both stitches in place, I'm going to move on to the next step. I'm going to stitch very close to the teeth, not on it, but close to it. While you are stitching, open your fingers and open it up. I don't know if you could see what I'm doing, but hopefully you can. That's the farthest I can get. It won't allow me to go any further because of the zipper. Do the same thing for the other side. Now all two of our zipper teeth installed. Now you're going to see if your zipper works. This is how it looks on the inside. Let's see how it looks on the outside. Just like the name says, invisible. Invisible. You can't really see it. And that's the purpose of an invisible zipper. Hopefully you could see that. We are now going to finish our facings for the back. You are going to line it up. Going to go to my machine. I'm going to stitch at the top of that about 1/4 inch, and then I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to edge stitch. Okay, so now that you have edge stitch, we're going to do the final step. You're going to pin this down and you are going to use your zipper foot and you're going to stitch close to your zipper teeth. That is it. Can you see that? I'm going to stitch my front to my back at the shoulder seams. Make sure that facing is to facing and main fabric is to main fabric. So that is my shoulder seams and I have pinned both of them. So I'm going to now take that to the machine. I'm going to stitch that, and next I'm going to pin and insert my sleeves. After I pin and insert my sleeves, then I will tell you the next step. 1/2 inch back stitch at the beginning and at the end. So now that we have our shoulder seams sewn, I'm going to now do the sleeves and I'm going to use the flat method. Now there are other ways to do your sleeves, but that's the way that I prefer. This is my back, and how I know it's my back because my zipper is there. I put a notch to know where my center of my shoulder sleeve begins. And I'm just going to pin all around, and I'm going to do that for both of them. Now that I have both of my sleeves pinned in, I'm going to sew that, and then I'm going to show you the next step. Back stitch at the beginning and at the end. We have both of our sleeves sewn in place. I'm going to now do my side seams. The dress is coming together. Make sure that your underarm seams are lined up properly. I'm going to stick a pin there. When it comes to my pockets, I'm going to make sure that they line up. Once I finish pinning, I'm going to stitch using an inch seam allowance because that is what I left. I'm going to stitch from the sleeve straight around. When I get to the pocket, I'm going to stitch my inch, and then I'm going to stitch a 1/4 of an inch around the pocket, and then I'm going to come back and stitch out an inch and take my inch straight to the hem of my dress. I'm going to do that for both sides, and then when I'm done with that, I will show you how that looks. At this point, I would advise you to try on your dress. I have done every seam. Try it on to see if you have to make any adjustments. This is the side seam, all stitched down. And I did that for both sides. That is your pockets. That is what you should have. There are 2 more steps left. And the last 2 steps would be for you to hem both your sleeves and your dress. So all you do is turn it over 1/2 inch and then 1/2 inch again, and then you're going to pin and stitch very close to the edge, and you will do the same for the sleeves. Turn it over 1/2 inch and then 1/2 inch again. You're going to pin and stitch very close to the edge. Okay, this is it. This is the dress that I just finished sewing for you. Now you would notice a different fabric, the one that I use in my drafting tutorial, and that's because I did the video for you, but the lighting kept changing, so I didn't want to put out a video just for putting out a video's sake, because I want to give you quality. So I decided to do a whole nother dress and share that process with you. I use a woven fabric, and this is a fabric that I had in my stash for many years, and so I'm trying to work my stash without buying any more fabrics. Okay, so this is the front of my dress. Let me show you the back of it. And I use a 22 invisible zipper in this dress, and I will show you a video on the installation of that zipper. So that's another video that will be coming out on my channel. Look forward to seeing that video. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Come and join this family. Share my video with family and friends and all those persons who just love sewing or simply want to be inspired. I will see you in the next video. Bye!